Horror story fanatics are all like, is it Halloween yet? Is it Halloween yet? Not yet, but the countdown's getting closer. And welcome back to the heart of the stories we tell, a series where I spend way too much time thinking about what makes a story. And today's episode is short stories, specifically short horror stories, ones that have popped up on YouTube over the last few years. And I'm going to be reviewing a certain person's videos, and we're going to start in a moment. But first, let's just recap where we've been so far this month. For the month of October, I'm asking why we tell horror stories, and I started out at Five Nights at Freddy's. In part 1, we talked about the idea of the roller coaster ride, the jump scare, and the psychological horror. In part 2, we talked about H.P. Lovecraft and the idea of cosmic horror and going insane. And now, just a quick recap of the way I review things. I think almost every story has some value. I'll leave a link up to my review system. In general, though, I use precious metals, and my 1-star review is mercury, and my 7-star review is some mythical metal that is probably unreachable, and everything in between is based on D&D. Click on the link if you want to know more about that, but for now, let's talk about what it is I'm reviewing today. Today I'm going to talk about CZ's world, and according to his own world, you'll explore many different horror genres like psychological horror, supernatural, dark thriller, creepypasta, slasher, gothic, zombie, and more. So, what is he? Well, he's an independent movie creator that makes little short films here on YouTube. And you know what? They're pretty cool, especially for the fact that you know he's working on almost no budget. Let me just start with an overall grade on the whole production. This is definitely an Electrum story set. This is definitely, there are good and there are bad in there, and we're going to talk about that. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who is working his butt off to tell awesome stories. And if you like horror stories, some of these are only a minute or two long. Some of them, the longer ones, are 7 or 8 minutes. Go stop by, watch one or two. Leave him a like if you like them. His production values are so-so, but again, he's working on a budget. He does a good job of keeping things tight for being in one set location so that he's not all over the place, and he does a really great job at thinking through what the psychological effects of things are. In fact, one of the stories I'm going to review very specifically is psychological. However, before we get into that, I guess I have to hit you with, so once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. My specific spoilers are going to be about 3 videos that I'm going to review directly: Being Watched, Feeding Hour, and Live Alone. I'll reference a few of the others, but honestly I think you should probably go watch all 3 of those before you do the rest of this review. Also, just so you know, he is not sponsoring me, he is not helping me out. This is all just done because I'm reviewing for a normal review. However, he does ask for donations on his website, on his YouTube, and keep in mind that the same way I ask for Patreon support at the end of all my videos, if you like something, you might want to consider supporting the artist. And if you don't have money to burn, keep in mind there's other ways to support us. Simply liking our videos, subscribing to our channels, and sharing us with your friends are all great ways to help get all of these channels promoted and help build these communities. But now, on with it. We're going to start with Being Watched.
So I was at this one concert the other day.
So this one has an easy setup, 2 friends walking home from a concert. This one has an easygoing one location, so everything just moves right through it. And it's actually pretty terrifying. In fact, it's one of those makes you think videos. I'm not going to be too spoilery with this one, because the end will send a chill down your spine. However, I am giving it a gold. Why? Because not only is it great, it's short, it's to the point, and again, I'll just let the actor say what the best part about it is.
That's really creepy.
If you've got a few minutes to kill, go watch Being Watched. And having said that, let me give you an example of what the end of his videos look like.
Thank you for watching the micro horror entitled Being Watched, because I could see how that might be confusing. If you haven't already checked out Bryce Makes Films, this is your last warning.
Like I said, this is a fun guy, and you should probably check out his channel. However, let's talk about exactly what you just saw. As you can see, he's using some pretty good special effects. Not state-of-the-art, nothing you're going to see in Hollywood, but he's putting some effort into this, and the idea of him being a filmmaker is definitely real. The next one is called Feeding Hour, and it's a different type of one than the last. So again, a small confined space with 2 main characters. This time it's an apartment, so it's a little bigger than the one walk through the street. but same base idea. And they do a great job of setting up some foreshadowing and some great music cues. Just wait. As you hear in the background, the music cues are perfectly set up to just invoke that sense of dread that something's about to happen. And the dog food bowl is a great example of why these burglars are about to be in for a rough time. All in all, I'm going to give this one a silver, though. It's not quite as good as the one above, it's not quite as thought-provoking, although it does have one really cool thing. Let me show you. Spoiler alert, again.
Easy boy.
Again, they're not going to win like Emmy or Academy Award for special effects, but for a YouTube channel, my god, that's an awesome shot. Up next is the one that if you're only going to watch one of my suggested ones, it should be this one, Live Alone. And it's also the longest. Even if you don't live alone, have you ever just been alone in your house one night and you just that creepy feeling like you're being watched? Or have you actually had to spend long periods of time alone, living alone? This one will send a chill right up your spine then. Being a longer one, this one sets up a little more, and let's be honest, that music is the perfect, nice, relaxing build music. And the normal everyday things of signing your lease and moving in just set up the normal world that this character lives in, that of course gets turned upside down by the end. Also, unlike the previous ones, as you see, we have scene transitions. She's driving in her car, she's moving into the apartment, later we're going to be in other places, including offices, such little things to make the story come to life. Now, this is hardly an original story, but it's extremely well done. So let's just take another look in here. The nightmares and the restlessness and the just stir-crazy of being alone for the first time starts to hit her. And again, you start to think psychological drama.
Liking it so far?
It's nice. Kind of scary living alone, though.
Yeah.
As we get to know the character, we get to learn a lot about her. Again, you can watch it to get a little better of an understanding. We get the idea of her having a whole world around her when we meet her neighbor.
Hello?
One single actress walking around by herself with a few music cues sells the whole story. The whole fear, the anxiety, the weight, what's coming next. And it builds until... Nothing. Tricked you. Yep. Just, the ice maker. Those noises you hear, the shadows you watch against the wall, that feeling you get that just isn't right. Yeah, I'm sure it's all in her head, right?
Maintenance? Maybe an old tenant.
We just changed the locks, and maintenance is out of here before 9 p.m. Did you actually see someone?
No, I guess it's probably nothing.
Amy, is this your first time living alone?
See, what did I tell you? The horror movie isn't really about horror or scaring. See, happy ending, she's fine, no big deal, right? Remember that roller coaster analogy we had back in part 1 when we were talking about Five Nights at Freddy's? I want you to think about that. The ups, the downs. You need moments of stillness, moments of calm, in order to contrast the moments of the jump scare, the moments of the horror. And it all needs to work together. So let's see if it does here.
Imagination has gotten to your head. Classic monophobia. So I'm going to write you a prescription for a sleep medication.
Now, as much as there were spoilers here, I'm not going to ruin the actual ending of this story. It is amazing. It's a story you've heard before, but it is, again, just very well done in every way, shape, and form. Those sleeping pills play into it as well, and I want you to think about that. So I'm giving this a gold rating. In fact, of all the videos I watched of his, this one I think is my #1 favorite. I've pulled apart some scenes here just to show you how well they encapsulate the silence, the alone, the just whole feeling of dread. However, then I'm going to talk about one last one, a bonus one, Sleep Tight. I actually debated whether or not I was going to do this one, but I finally erred on the side that since I gave you my example of the best, I should give you the example of the one I liked the least. That's where it starts, and it might as well be where it ends. Let's be honest, we already know where this is going. I'm going to just skip ahead for a second. This is the shortest of the ones that I did, and you already know where this is going, I'm sure. Unlike the others on this list, it doesn't have enough time to build up the dread. It doesn't get to know the character. It's very generic. It has a little kid telling a story around a campfire type scare to it. Overall, I'm giving this a copper for this one story, but I do have to say, the makeup isn't too bad on the monster at the end. I pulled away before you really saw it, so spoiler alert, here it is. Overall, you should go over to that channel and check out all of them. And now you may be asking why I'm doing this. Well, this goes back to something I said last week when talking about H.P. Lovecraft. Remember when I said those pulp magazines were basically YouTube being mailed to you? Well, maybe people like this are the next H.P. Lovecraft. Now, I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying we should be looking through all of these independent creators and seeing where our next big star comes from. If you're looking for a book series, Crossroads Press has my friends published No Laughing Matter. You can pick it up on Amazon in ebook format. And actually all the guys at Crossroads Press are great. You should go check out all of their selections. In the meantime, if you're looking for my favorite horror stories, I did a Sensational 7 on that back. Actually, I think that was one of my first ones. But come back next week as we have another horror-filled October Halloween countdown when we talk about the end of the world. So for now, I need you to like, subscribe, and share this video so that we can grow this community, and then join me back here next time as we take a walk through the heart of the stories we tell. Thanks for watching.